of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Here.
Mr. Franco.
I'm here.
Mr. Cabrera.
I am here. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, the notice requirements have been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice on the bulletin board in Borough Hall and by mailing and emailing same to the Herald of Cape May County, the Gazette Leader, and the Press of Atlantic City on December 7th, 2022. In the event of an emergency, your emergency exit is the way you came in, the back door to your right, or the door immediately to our right here up front. This meeting is being shown live here today on the Facebook page and also on the YouTube page of the borough. In the event you're watching this meeting live and you want to ask a question, you may dial the conference line, which is sitting right up here up front with us. That number is 888-363-4734, and when prompted, you're going to enter the access code 9699020, followed by the pound or the hashtag. If you watch the recorded version, you're more than welcome to ask questions to our clerk at 609-729-8040, or you may email clerk@wildwoodcrest.org. And speaking of the clerk, Madam Clerk, may we have the ordinances, please?
Yes, sir. The first is Ordinance 1396, and it reads as follows. An ordinance repealing and restating Ordinance 911 and 914, and adopting recent regulations and provisions adopted by the legislature of the State of New Jersey pertaining to the Enterprise Zone Development Corporation of the Wildwoods.
Motions that ordinance number 1396 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading, and public hearing on March 8, 2023 at 9:30 a.m.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1396 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading, and public hearing on March 8, 2023 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is Ordinance 1397, and it reads as follows. Ordinance to establish Cap Bank for calendar year 2023 pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
Motion that ordinance number 1397 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading, and public hearing on March 8, 2023 at 9:30 a.m.
Second it.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1397 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on March the 8th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have the resolutions. The first is authorizing an emergency temporary budget for 2023.
Motion.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing expenditure to purchase a Peterbilt 548 tandem axle cab and chassis, 66,000 GVW for Public Works under National Cooperative Sourcewell.
Motion that.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing expenditure to purchase a 29 cubic yard Leach 2R-111 rear loader for Public Works under National Cooperative Sourcewell.
Motion.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing refund of memorial bench payment made payable to Manuel Martins in the amount of $500.
Motion.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is accepting work performed and authorizing release of performance bond and accepting maintenance bond for the NJDCA Small Cities Program Beach Street End Public Access Improvements Phase 1B.
Motion that.
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is naming the basketball courts located at Scoop Taylor Park as the Jack Buchanan Basketball Courts and naming the concession stand located at Higbee Field as the Lunch with Lynch Foundation concession stand.
Be my honor to motion that.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is supporting S 3388, redirecting $300 million in certain federal funds under fiscal year 2023 Appropriations Act to create competitive capital project grant program in the Office of the Secretary of Higher Education.
Motion.
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes, hopefully.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is supporting A 646 and S 2079, urging the passage of tourism tax fair share bill.
Motion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing certification of compliance with the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's enforcement guidance on the consideration of arrest and conviction records in employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Motion that.
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of emergency contract to Asphalt Paving Systems, Inc. for sewer service issues on West Palm Road and New Jersey Avenue in accordance with NJSA 40A:11-6.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing refund of property taxes or utilities overpayment and made payable to CoreLogic.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing expenditure to purchase computer software for clerk management under Bergen County Cooperative.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing waiver of the fee required by application by the Wildwood Crest School District to host a graduation ceremony at Centennial Park on June 15th, 2023, from 5 to 7 p.m.
Motion.
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Lastly is authorizing award of the contract for the Joseph on Salvage Memorial Pool HVAC equipment replacement.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all reports received from the court administrator, chief financial officer, tax collector, chief of police, supervisor for the recreation department, construction official, emergency services coordinator for the EMS, and the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company chief for the month ending January 31st, 2023 be accepted as presented.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded that all reports received from the court administrator, chief financial officer, tax collector, chief of police, supervisor for the recreation department, construction official, emergency services coordinator for the EMS, and the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company chief for the month ending January 31st, 2023 be accepted as presented. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all minutes from the commission meetings dated January 25th, 2023, and February 8th, 2023 be approved as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that all minutes from the commission meetings dated January 25th and February 8th, 2023 be approved as presented. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sure.
Thanks.
Moving right along, we're gonna switch things up a little bit. Mr. de Blasio, we're gonna go with the engineer's report first. I understand you had to depart early, so fire away.
Okay, thank you. The, under capital improvement projects, the contractor for the reconstruction of Syracuse Avenue is progressing very well. Contractor, all utility work is completed from Bayview Drive to Atlantic Avenue. The concrete work is pretty much finished between Seaview Avenue and Bayview Drive. The bid opening for the re-advertisement for the Beach Patrol headquarters is March 1st. We're hoping that we'll get a responsive bid, that's on budget. We had a pre-construction meeting for the Beach Street End Public Access Improvements Phase 2 last week on February 15th, and the contractor is actually scheduled to start demolition this week. We're currently out to bid for the Von Savage Pool improvements. That bid opening is March 9th. And last item to talk about is a selection of the retaining wall material for Centennial Park pursuant to meetings with Commissioner Schiff and the chief about adding some barriers or aesthetic barriers at the park. I had met a contractor to get a quote, and he has researched trying to find a dual-faced retaining wall block that matches what's at the park. From what I'm being told, the existing block at the park appears to be what's called an EP Henry Harvest blend type. That's what's existing, and that material is no longer available or not available locally. I had asked for a substitution that would match that block closely. I was told that the color would be, or the blend would be called Dakota Blend. And an email was sent to myself with a link, which I forwarded to everyone independently. So, speaking with Commissioner Schiff about this, he wanted me to bring this up at the meeting tonight so that there could be a dialogue and some consensus. So, fire away.
So for the retaining wall, basically all we have left is just figuring out the color. I talked to my color coordinator, and
Do that.
No, I just
Mrs.
drove,
Springer.
so I just drove out there and took pictures on my way here.
So we're gonna try to match it up as close as possible. Basically, the idea was coming from all of us was the fact that we didn't want to create more work for public works, so we're gonna make it a sitting wall instead of a flower bed. And I think we had two options. One was, the chief was talking, and I were talking, he said there was one option where we would probably enclose the whole thing. And we both said that would not be a good idea, because then people would have to walk around everything to get to the park itself. So we want to place it where there's spaces in between, so they can walk into the park. Follow what I'm saying? So that seemed to be the smartest way to go. Are you guys all right with that?
As long as it's not orange, right?
Not orange, might be orange.
Bright orange.
Those ugly orange and white water-filled barriers.
Well, when you said we can do better than that, we are.
Yeah. I'm okay with anything that you all decide. I'll just have Joe and Steve weigh in on
The
on
color.
the look and design and all that, but at the end of the day, it's part of the parks, so I'm fine with whatever the consensus is.
All right, I'd like to get that done as soon as we can, so we can start the process, and then see what the money is.
Yeah, so I spoke to the contractor today. He's gonna give us two different numbers. One is we talked about having the wall be continuous through the park. And then there was a second option where it would be continuous with some openings, but then there was a conversation that we had in the field about utilizing some of the benches. So we would stop the wall and the benches would act like a barrier, which would obviously be the less expensive option. So he's gonna give it to us both ways, and then we can make a decision. But I think the first step is I need to let this gentleman know.
Okay, so you're getting the yes right now then,
Okay,
okay?
so it's gonna be Dakota.
I don't know.
North or south?
Dakota
That's
blend.
the color.
That's,
Yeah, that's the color. Well, I would definitely speak to the Public Works Department, because they were here when probably it was installed originally, no? It's been that long?
I was.
Predates me.
Oh, I thought that was actually a huge house.
Actually, I picked it out many years ago, back in 2006.
Oh.
Yes.
Do you remember the
2008.
color?
Yes. I remember standing out there and picking it out of a catalog now that we're talking about it.
Okay.
But as I'm getting older, my eyes aren't like they used to be, so I'm gonna defer to the younger minds to pick that out. Mr. Shear, that is all you.
All right, so we'll move forward, just give me the information that went as soon as you can, and we'll make decisions that need to be made.
okay,
All right, thank you.
that was it.
Okay, Mrs. Wiley, you are free to leave if you
I have
want.
a little bit of time, so I can hang.
Okay. All right,
Ground ball here.
next up is our administrator's report. Connie, welcome back.
Thank you.
Far away.
Thank you. To piggyback on a little bit of what Mark said about the beach bump outs, Fred Chavone is preparing to begin work at the following streets: Toledo, St. Paul, Monterey, Miami, Louisville, Nashville, Atlanta, Farragut, Stanton, Stockton, and Orchid. The contractor is sending out correspondence to the local property owners. He usually hangs something on the door, goes directly door to door, and our engineer is sending out correspondence to all the affected property owners as well. You may have already done that. Right, so everyone will be aware. There was also a press release that went out yesterday on this very thing so that everyone is advised. The contractor has assured us that he will do everything possible to avoid unnecessary disruption to business and activity in the construction area. All asphalt and infrastructure work will be completed first to minimize disruptions. The Crest Arts Pavilion. Atlantic City Electric has installed the new upgraded service and transformers that were necessary. Our contractor was given notice to reroute the electrical conduit to enable the new service feed to the building's main panel. They are scheduled to power up the building this week, provided that Atlantic City Electric comes back to connect the pole, and that's where they need to coordinate with our construction office upstairs with cut cards and things of that nature. I've asked our governmental liaison, Ronnie Town at Atlantic City Electric, to help advocate for this to happen expeditiously. Once we power once the power is to the main panel, a full energizing of all mechanical components will happen, and the contractor can complete the last of the painting, trim, and minor details, as well as a final walkthrough punch list that will take place. The power to the new digital sign out front will also be hooked up as soon as possible. The preliminary punch list will be developed at tomorrow's walkthrough, which is scheduled for 1 o'clock on site, and our contractor is aware that the Creative Arts Council event, their countywide art contest will be held on March 24th. Pacific Avenue, spoke to the county engineer. The contractor will be setting up for road work along Pacific Avenue that will occur in late March. The drainage area, the drainage portion of this project is complete, as is most of the electrical work and the concrete work. So they're gonna start ramping up for paving in the near future. Hereford Inlet to Cape May Inlet Beach and Dune construction. The Commissioner of DEP has given Wildwood and Lower Township until this evening to agree to sign their respective state aid agreements. I have not heard yet, but we'll hear back tomorrow on the outcome of that, and I will report back to the governing body as soon as I know what the outcome of those two state aid agreements are. New Jersey Avenue. The county engineer has informed us that we should start the infrastructure work on New Jersey Avenue this fall in 2024 in advance of the county's plans to start the reconstruction of New Jersey Avenue, which they plan for the spring of 2025. This project is expected to take 2 years. We are currently awaiting the final plans from the county engineer so that we can formalize and approve it. The business district project would occur in conjunction with the county's project, and final plans will need to be formulated for that portion of the project. Sunset Lake State Channel dredging. We continue to work with the NJDOT's Office of Maritime Resources. They contacted me yesterday late. Talked about some times for an update meeting, and as of today, I notified the local mayors and administrators that our meeting will be this Friday. They will be in town at 10 o'clock, and we'll be meeting here to discuss the state's channel dredging. Our dredging committee is working with us and the state, and once New Jersey does the state channel, we have requested that they realign it, and we are working in partnership, hopefully with Lower Township, to dredge the remaining portions of the lake, and there's more to come on that. CAFRA applications. Our special counsel had a preliminary meeting with NJDEP in pursuit of the alternate dispute resolution. He did meet with them. And that's for the storage and parking area adjacent to the Beach Patrol headquarters. We're waiting on some word on that. The IP for the dune and beach maintenance activities, bike path, widening of the pedestrian access through the dunes north of Rambler, old library site improvements, and water main looping are, that has been submitted, and we're just awaiting word. Washington Avenue, our brick planning study, de Blasio and Associates has been authorized to perform that study, and it's being funded by a FEMA grant. The borough's contribution is $23,000 on that grant, and the grant itself is over $90,000, with FEMA paying over $70,000. EV charging stations, we were approved for grants for this. We are right now in the funding process, and the financial funding process for the EV charging stations, and we hope to get that underway this year. 2023 DCA Small Cities Grant, in our continued efforts to address ADA compliance in our municipal buildings, we have identified the need to identify the 3 restrooms or bathrooms in the municipal building and the 3 bathrooms at Crest Pier. The 2023 application is currently pending, and we'll report back as soon as we know on that. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just one quick follow-up on the Arts Pavilion. There is a meeting scheduled tomorrow that I asked for Recreation, Public Works, Engineering to participate, just to kind of go through in preparation for the Arts Council event on March 24th, to make sure that we have everything ready to go, furniture is ordered, there's punch list items on construction that need to be addressed, what's still outstanding, if there's materials and supplies that need to be ordered, all that. So that's scheduled for tomorrow. We'll have another update if there's anything that's requires governing body attention. I don't think so, but I think we pretty much are moving. We're probably 89% there, and still have the other 11% to wrap up. Okay. Any questions for our engineer or our administrator from the public? Conference line. Anybody on the line have any questions for our administrator or engineer? Hearing none, we're going to move right to the first responder reports, starting with Chief Lloyd.
Good evening, governing body, mayor, commissioner. Welcome back, Administrator Mann. So I'm just going to go over some key points on my report to commissionership for the month of January. In the month of January, the police department had 1,446 calls for service. We had 211 criminal investigations, 269 service calls. There are alarms, citizen assist, fires, medical assist, school-related activities, and utility complaints. We had 101 motor vehicle stops with 32 traffic summonses issued. We did 470 property checks, 389 hours of training, and we had 5 adult arrests. I do want to go over real briefly 2 things that our community outreach program is involved with. On February 28th, we were invited to speak to the Forever Young group at the Assumption Church about elder fraud. We've invited 2 FBI agents to come in and assist us with that. So in conjunction with our community outreach officers, the FBI is going to come in and speak to that group about elder fraud. So that'll be good for that group. On March 22nd, this is a tentative date. We're still waiting for confirmation on the Crest Pier. We're going to be doing a presentation to parents for children to parents of children 4th grade or younger, discussing mass shootings, narcotics trends, and bullying. And we're also going to explain to them what we do within our school to train the officers to be prepared for events that we hope never happen. But again, that's a tentative date. So my point in bringing these things up, our community outreach program, we're always interested and eager to be involved with the community, and if you have any groups or anything that would like us to come and speak or do a presentation on anything, we're more than happy to do that, and we'd love to put that together. So that's my report.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any questions? All good?
Steve did his first, you didn't hear him.
Chase Dakota.
Yeah, welcome back, Administrator. For the month of January for the fire department, we responded to a total of 26 calls, 6 hazardous conditions, 3 service calls, good intent calls, and 14 false alarms for the fire department. We're going to make it quick because there's a game tonight, right? So,
That's right. Go
all right,
ahead.
we're going to move on to the EMS department. They responded to 65 calls for the month of January. Total of 18 were transported to the hospital, 11 refusals. 11 were recalls or canceled by dispatch or public assist, and standby for the fire department 25 times. For Wildwood Crest, we received no mutual aid from any municipalities. We gave 6 to Wildwood and 2 to Lower Township for the month of January. Moving into the Fire Prevention Bureau, we did 119 inspections. We had 55 re-inspections, a total of 2 follow-ups for a total of 176. We sent out 120 notices of violations, 73 certificates of inspection, And we had 2 smoke detector certs for the month of January. Under the 5-year SLEP program housing, we did 13 units of inspection and we did 30 re-inspections. And moving on to the Office of Emergency Management, there was nothing in January. February, we did our training, so you'll have that next month. That is my report.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ron.
No questions? Any questions for our chief? Either chief. EMS.
next?
Public Works, you have your report?
You don't have enough time, sir.
That's what I like to hear.
There's only one Joe Bond and one Apple.
All right, moving on, we have under discussion the proposed railing ordinance. I believe everybody, we have a draft here in front of you. It was also sent out via email. Basically, to summarize this, they're the new beach bump outs that have the new railings installed. There were a significant amount of people that were chaining beach chairs and bikes and all kinds of things to the railings last year. In order to give the police and Public Works some